Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong says Singapore should strive to maintain a balance between conservative citizens and giving space for homosexuals to live and contribute to society. Mr. Lee was among the many MPs in Parliament who spoke in support of keeping Section 377A of the Penal Code, which deems sex between men a crime. The passing of the amended Penal Code concluded 2 days of debate on the most comprehensive review in more than 20 years.
Section 377A may be the hot-button issue in Singapore, but whether homosexuality is debated here or in Western countries, Prime Minister Lee says it will remain a contentious topic. Mr. Lee says abolishing 377A will not end the argument because there are deep concerns of moral values among the majority of Singaporeans. Neither will repealing it give gay activists what they want, which is acceptance. The Prime Minister says gays in Singapore do have space and they're not harassed.
Homosexuals work in all sectors, all over the economy, in the public sector as well, and in the civil service as well. They are free to lead their lives, free to pursue their social activities. But there are restraints, and we do not approve of them actively promoting their lifestyle to others or setting the tone for mainstream society.
Many MPs support keeping 377A, citing moral concerns among Singaporeans.
My own view is a simple one. I would be the mother who loves her gay son. I would be the man who loves his gay brother. I would be the first to stand up for a gay man's right to be treated as an equal under the law. Yet, I am a member of Parliament who believes that as a nation, our families are not ready to have an open acceptance of the gay lifestyle.
The majority of Singaporeans have unequivocally rejected this cry to decriminalize homosexuality. The overwhelming sentiment of Singaporeans is that they are not prepared to compromise their conservative family values by opening up to alternative sexual behavior, nor allowing it to permeate across time-honored boundaries into the conventional family sanctity.
Some say even though 377A is not strictly observed, questions remain about enforcing it.
Will there be ramifications of this legislation? If someone rents his apartment to a gay couple, will he be charged as an abetting accomplice to a crime under Section 5 of the Penal Code? Besides valid immigration and foreign employment papers, should landlords now ask for confirmation of their tenants' sexual orientation?
The Prime Minister believes it is better to accept legal untidiness and ambiguities over 377A, adding that it's unwise to force the issue definitively one way or the other, because there are strong views on both sides. And he says the debate will change few minds.
And instead of forging a consensus, we will divide and polarize our society. I should therefore say that, as a matter of reality, that the more gay activists push this agenda, the stronger will be the pushback from conservative forces in our society. As we are beginning to see already in this debate and over the last few weeks and months. And the result will be counterproductive because it's going to lead to less space for the gay community in Singapore.
The Prime Minister says it's better to let the situation evolve gradually while observing the impact of how it's worked out in other countries. And Singapore will have to remain one step behind the front line of any change on this issue.
The government recognizes homosexuals as part of Singapore society, says Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. But Section 377A in the Penal Code, which criminalizes homosexual acts, should be left alone. Hello and welcome to In Parliament. Section 377A remains the most debated part of the proposed Penal Code amendments today. Most MPs who spoke were against repealing it. But MP Charles Chong said it's only useful in protecting men from unwanted sexual advances from other men.
If the experts and MM and PM are indeed correct, and some of our MPs wrong, that some of us are indeed born with different sexual orientations, then it would be quite wrong of us to criminalize and to persecute those that are born different from us, regardless of how conservative a society we claim to be, especially if their actions do not cause harm to third parties.
As for MP Bae Yam Keng, he felt Section 377A had ramifications, even for non-homosexuals.
With no proactive enforcement, should anyone be a good citizen and report private gay sexual activities to the police, or will they be simply ignored? Will there be ramifications of this legislation? If someone rents his apartment to a gay couple, will he be charged as an abetting accomplice to a crime under Section 5 of the Penal Code?
Weighing in on the debate, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said abolishing Section 377A will not end the bitter dispute on whether to decriminalize homosexuality, an issue which he said remains contentious in every society, even in Western countries. Rising to state his and the government's stand on the issue, Mr. Lee said the government had held long discussions and extensive public consultation, and the decision to leave things be.
Singapore is basically a conservative society. And I think the vast majority of Singaporeans want to keep it this way, want to keep our society like this, and so does the government. But at the same time, we should recognize that homosexuals are part of our society. They are our kith and kin. We shouldn't make it harder than it already is for them to grow up and to live in a society where they are different from most Singaporeans. And we also don't want them to leave Singapore to go to more congenial places to live. But homosexuals should not set the tone for Singapore society. Nor do we consider homosexuals a minority in the sense that we consider, say, Malays and Indians as minorities with minority rights protected under the law. Languages taught in schools, cultures celebrated by all races, representation guaranteed in Parliament through GRCs, and so on.
Mr. Lee said there's enough space and room for homosexuals in Singapore, and it's wiser to keep this balance for a stable society. He made it clear the government will not flinch from taking the lead to make radical changes such as the CPF reforms and building casinos. But when it comes to moral values with consequences on the wider society, Mr. Lee said it's wiser to stay one step behind the front line of change. And he cautioned that the more gay activists push for more space and full acceptance by others, the stronger will be the pushback from the conservative forces in society.
And the result will be counterproductive because it's going to lead to less space for the gay community in Singapore. So it's better to let the situation evolve gradually. It's better to accept the legal untidiness and the ambiguity. It works, don't disturb it. I don't think it's wise to try to force the issue. If you try and force the issue and settle the matter definitively, one way or the other, we are never going to reach an agreement within Singapore society. People on both sides hold strong views. People who are presently willing to live and let live will get polarized. And no views will change because many of the people who oppose it do so on very deeply held religious convictions, particularly the Christians and the Muslims. And those who propose it on the other side, they also want this as a matter of deeply felt fundamental principle. So discussion and debate is not going to bring them closer together. And instead of forging a consensus, we will divide and polarize our society. And we've kept the way we are. I think that has been right. I think we have also been right to adapt, to accommodate homosexuals in our society, but not to allow or encourage activists to champion gay rights they do in the West. So I suggest, Mr. Speaker, and I suggest to the members of the House, we keep this balance, leave Section 377A alone. I think there's space in Singapore and room for us to live harmoniously and practically all as Singapore citizens together. Thank you very much.